Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. My name is Fatin Elisa binti Rusli and my registration number is 15DKA21F1009. My friends and I are going to be presenting Chapter 5 Timber for our materials presentation. Before we started, I would like to share a quick outline of our presentation. I will be splitting this presentation into two parts. The first content is comparing wood-based panel products, plywood, glue-laminated timber, fiberboard, and particle board. The second content is identify finishes of timber and its suitable liquid solvents. First of all, I will be comparing wood-based panels products, which are plywood, glue-laminated timber, fiberboard, and particle board. First, plywood. Plywood is characterized by the small cracks or face checks on the surface that are caused by lead when the veneer is cut from the log. As plywood goes through moisture cycling outdoors, these cracks tend to get the larger and stress the coating bond. Generally, a good stain can effectively protect plywood, since checking in stained plywood usually occurs during the first 6 months of outdoor exposure. Best coating result can be obtained by applying a first coat and allowing any checking to occur, then allow 6 months or so, then apply a second coat. Paint service life can be reduced unless efforts are made to reduce moisture uptake and also to use flexible product to accommodate dimensional changes of the wood. Roughening the surface is also important. Next is glue-laminated timber. Glue-laminated timber, also abbreviated glue-lam, is a type of structural engineered wood product constituted by layers of dimensional lumber bonded together with durable, moisture-resistant structural adhesives. In North America, the material providing the laminations is termed laminating stock or lam stock. Next, fiberboard. Fiberboard is often used as a roofing material for a low-slope roof. Fiberboard is a great material to be used as a backing to shingles for any kind of roof. You will also find it being used as sheeting for walls in the home. It is durable and flexible, which makes it ideal for these uses. Lastly, particle board. Particle board is extensively used as flooring underlayment or as a base for parquet flooring, wood flooring, or for carpets. For this purpose, the particle boards are treated with special chemicals and resins to make them waterproof or termite-proof.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Fazrin Adila binti Zainal. My registration number is 15DKA21F1063. I will be continuing the second content, which is identifying finishes of timber and its suitable liquid solvents. Finishes on timber have two purposes. First, to improve the durability of the building. Second, to look aesthetically pleasing. There are three types of timber finishes. First, stain. Stain contain pigment and are used to tint the timber. Second, paint. Paint contain color pigment and sit on the wood to form a protective coating. Third, finishes. Finish paints without pigment that lay down a clear protective coating. Why finish timber? Unfinished and unprotected wood will gradually wither as temperature and moisture content variations create progressive change in its physical and chemical structure. The weathering process causes surface fibers to break down and wear away over time, as well as color change and surface hardening. Finish performance. The performance depends on choosing a suitable finish, considering the usage conditions. Finishes must be applied correctly and in sufficient quantities. Finish qualities. It must have the desired look. It must safeguard the timber. It must be long-lasting enough for the intended use. Type of finishes. First, evaporative. Second, coalescing. Third, reactive. Evaporative finishes, dry as their solvent, disperse into the air. They will always redissolve into the solvents originally used to thin them, making them easier to repair but also less durable. Common solvents are alcohol, acetone, and nitrocellulose like thinner. All finishes contain additives to control color, drying time, sanding. These additives are resins dissolved in solvent dry. The resins form a film. Adding a new coat of evaporative finish to previous coat will dissolve the previous layer, allowing the new resins to bond with the previous coat. Types: nitrocellulose lacquer and shallot cellulose polishes and thinners are in the same family. Wax is an evaporative finish because it is dissolved in turpentine or petroleum distillates to make the familiar soft paste. After these distillates evaporate, the wax remains. There are 5 examples of products in evaporative finishes. The first product is wax. In terms of ease of application, the finish is excellent. For repairability, the finish is excellent. For health and safety, the finish is good. For water resistance, the finish is poor. For chemical resistance, the finish is fair. For scratch resistant, the finish is poor. The second product is shellac. In terms of ease of application, the finish is good. For repairability, the finish is excellent. For health and safety, the finish is excellent. For water resistant, the finish is fair. For chemical resistance, the finish is poor. For scratch resistance, the finish is fair. In terms of ease of application, the finish is fair. For repairability, the finish is excellent. For health and safety, the finish is poor. For water resistance, the finish is good. For chemical resistance, the finish is good. For scratch resistant, the finish is fair. Finally, most water-based finishes are good in terms of ease of application. For repairability, the finish is poor. For healthy and safety, the finish is fair. For water resistant, the finish is good. For chemical resistant, the finish is good. For scratch resistant, the finish is good.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amalina binti Sini Ibrahim Shah. Registration number is 15 DKA 21F1018. I will be continuing on the later part of the types of finishes where Fazrin Adila left off. The second type of finishes is reactive finishes. Reactive finishes are those where the resin undergoes chemical changes as the solvent evaporates. The resins cross-link to form new large molecules. For that, use solvents such as white spirits and naphtha. Oil varnishes and linseed oils are reactive finishes as they change chemically as they cure. At the cure, the solvent thinner evaporates and the resins cluster tightly together. A chemical reaction then occurs, which causes the resins to cross-link in a different chemical format. Also, scuff scanning is necessary between layers of cured finish, so that subsequent applied layers have something to grip onto. But the solvents won't redissolve the cured film. For examples, white spirits do not soften cured oil-based varnish. The oil-based varnishes fry from the top down by reacting with oxygen. The catalyzed lacquers dry from the bottom up, which is like evaporative finishes. And the solvents migrates upwards towards to the film surface and then out, leaving behind molecules that then cross-link. On top of that, tung oil and linseed oil are reactive finishes that cure by reacting with oxygen, but do not really form films finishes when cured. Water-based finishes generally fall into coalescing category. There are 5 examples of products in reactive finishes. The first product is linseed oil. In terms of ease of application, the finish is excellent. For repairability, the finish is excellent. For health and safety, the finish is excellent. But for water resistance, the finish is poor. For chemical resistance, the finish is fair. For scratch resistance, the finish is poor. The second product is tung oil. In terms of ease of application, the finish is excellent. For repairability, the finish is excellent. For health and safety, the finish is excellent. For water resistance, the finish is fair. For chemical resistance, the finish is fair. And for scratch resistance, the finish is poor. And lastly, the final product is catalyzed lacquer, also known as conversion varnish. In terms of ease of application, the finish is poor. For repairability, the finish is poor. For health and safety, the finish is poor. For water resistance, the finish is excellent. For chemical resistance, the finish is excellent. And lastly, for scratch resistance, the finish is also excellent. The oil-based varnishes fry from the top down by reacting with oxygen. The catalyzed lacquers dry from the bottom up, which is like evaporative finishes. And the solvents migrates upwards towards to the film surface and then out, leaving behind molecules that then cross-link. On top of that, tung oil and linseed oil are reactive finishes that cure by reacting with oxygen, but do not really form films finishes when cured. Water-based finishes generally fall into coalescing category.